Talking this week about the greatest of all. It's loving other people, but it's probably one of the greatest challenges of all. But here's something that might help you. So you want to be more forgiving? Consider how much God has forgiven you. Each sin could send us to hell forever, but God forgives us. If you can drink deeply of God's forgiveness for you, you're going to be able to love and forgive others. You need more patience? Trouble putting up with difficult relatives, cranky neighbors, kids, whatever it is? Think how much God puts up with you. How patient he is with you. Think about that. Or you're struggling to believe in someone. Why don't you drink deeply of how much God believes in you? Enough for Jesus to die and to save you. So when I was unsaved, ungodly, unkind, character flaws, no interest in God at all, guess what? Heaven looks down and says, I can do something with that young man. In fact, I'll die for him. I'll save him. One day he's going to serve me as a pastor and as a leader. Talk about believing in someone. God is exceptional. He believed in me when there was no reason to. May that help you believe in that person that you are struggling to believe in. Maybe someone close to you, or maybe someone you work with. The more we know we're loved by God, the more we can love others. Try putting your name in 1 Corinthians 13, 4-8. This is a bit challenging. So I'll put my name in there. Tak is patient. Tak is kind. Tak does not envy. Tak does not boast. Tak is not proud. Tak is not rude, not self-seeking, not easily angered. Tak keeps no record of wrongs. Well, that's simply not true. Well, because I'm not always patient, not always kind. In fact, I can be a pain in the neck and grumpy at times. Just ask my wife if you need confirmation, but please don't ask her. She might be a very long call. All right. So one preacher I heard about talked about our grumpy factor. So some people are mostly nice and loving, but they have a 6% grumpy factor. I wonder what yours is. What's your grumpy factor? So I can be nice, loving, then out comes grumpy Tak. What's my grumpy factor? I don't know. 5%, 10, 20, might be 30. Depends on the day. But there's certainly a grumpy factor there. It's hard to be grumpy and loving at the same time. It's hard to antagonize and influence positively at the same time. We all get grumpy at times. It's amazing how we can be loving and kind, and then in a moment, we're grumpy. We need to try and change that if we can. So I can't meet the standard of 1 Corinthians 13. In fact, no one can. The only person who can meet that standard is Jesus. We can all grow in it, but Jesus can meet the standard. In fact, these verses describe God's incredible depth of love for you. So Max Lucado put it this way, insert Jesus in this passage. Jesus is patient. This is towards you. Jesus is kind. Jesus does not envy, does not boast. Jesus is not proud. Jesus is not rude. He's not self-seeking. He's not easily angered at you. Keeps no record of your wrongs. Jesus does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. Towards you, Jesus always protects. Jesus always trusts. Jesus always hopes, always perseveres. Jesus never fails. Rather than let those verses remind you of a love you cannot produce, let it remind you of a love you cannot resist. God's love for you. Some of you need that love. Those who should have loved you didn't. Those who could have loved you failed to. You were left at the hospital. You were left with an empty bed. You were left with a broken heart. You're left asking, does anybody love me? Heaven's answer is yes. God loves you more than words can say. Drink deeply of God's love for you and have a rich deposit within your bank account, if you like, within your tank, a love that you can then pass on to others.